Значится, тонны комментариев хочешь? Будут они тебе. Леха, здорово.
Здорово, здорово. Ну.
Так, а если нам сделать по-другому немного? Как-нибудь вот так. И тут добавить на полную.
Ты про что там?
Да, на стриме. Оба, понеслась. Ну, все старые ролики варкрафтовские пошли.
Че?
Презентация началась, говорю.
Hi everyone, I'm John Haidt, General Manager for Warcraft, and with me today are my friends Ian Hazacostas, who is the Game Director for World of Warcraft, and Holly Longdale, who leads up the production team for WoW Classic. I really appreciate you tuning in. I know we're really excited to be able to give you updates on
Шерит
what's
скажет, что они
happening in World
банкроты,
of
блядь.
Warcraft. But first, I want to thank our community for all the feedback.
Сука, опять пизды получил. Да что ж такое?
Community council, you've helped shape and influence the updates that we've done recently and what you're going to see in the upcoming year.
Да я тут всю кампанию прохожу, блядь.
The story of the last 9 months or so of this expansion is all about the community, and it's shaped by
Весовые категории у нас с ней разные.
progressing as a team,
У нее 58 тонн, у меня 19 600.
making sure the community
Пошел,
felt
короче,
heard.
я в ФК
And so
канал.
that led us to the changes we made in 9.15,
Посмотри.
but also really re-examining some
Куда
of the
пойдешь?
foundations and foundations of World of Warcraft about things like character investment and mains versus alts, or how catch-up should work, or the appropriate role of friction in our systems. And I think 9.15 represented a step in the direction of letting players have
Слушай,
more
Марат, ты
freedom
на
to play
стриме?
World of Warcraft the way they want to play it.
Скажи по звуку, что там
And we
нормально,
really
нет?
built our Eternity's End content update from the ground up around those principles.
What are some of the things that the community said that influenced your decisions for Eternity's End?
Things like the method and pacing of acquisition of the Covenant Legendary item, tons of tuning, and I think every step of the way, we were listening to make sure that we were carrying forward those lessons learned in the course of 9.15 into Eternity's End and beyond.
So WoW Classic was really came about because of the community.
Yeah, they continue to help guide and support us as
Yeah,
Classic
definitely.
evolves.
World of Warcraft has always been
Okay.
about the world and the players that inhabit it. And we are, in a lot of ways, curators and caretakers of that journey and of that experience. And so once this classic community formed and grew, we had to listen to them.
It's this tide of listening to the community and paying attention to what is a good experience for our players now. And where we really saw a sea change in this idea is with our Season of Mastery round, which is a Season of Fresh Start Classic. And initially we were talking about it like it was going to be like a
Отлично.
fresh start. Let's try this experiment in a season. It'll be about a year long. And then when the community found out about it, we started seeing this upswell.
Yeah, the team just took that idea and ran with it and
Yes.
turned, what started out as a small community project into this Soul of Iron system that became a centerpiece of Season of Mastery and a whole new opt-in hardcore mode that we've seen communities built around.
Yeah.
Lots of,
Главное, что
thrilling
ты меня не
victory and
услышал
painful
точно.
defeat.
5 hours. I made it 5 hours.
Yeah, and it continues. Like Burning Crusade Classic, we wanted to balance the Paladin seals between Horde and Alliance, so we made an addition there. We wouldn't have gotten there without the community's input.
So influence the community. You've got another update and pretty significant controversial change for this.
Yeah, cross-faction play coming in 9.25, which is on a public test ROM now as a big
Ian,
centerpiece.
cross faction. You're breaking with a 17-year tradition.
Yeah, it's something. It was not an easily made decision by any means, and I think this is another one of those areas where really we try to take to heart community feedback and requests and ask ourselves as a team whether there's a way to accommodate such an earnestly held desire and still feel like we're being true to the roots of the game. I think players desire to play with their friends who might prefer a different faction, or to play with the faction that they more closely identify with, even though their raid group is elsewhere.
It's really important for me. I play a lot of alts, and I love absorbing the story for each race, and having that ability to play with all of my friends across factions is fantastic.
At the end of the day, the battle cry is for the Horde. It's not against the Alliance. It's not death to the Alliance. It's about pride in one's faction. And I think there's a way to preserve that and even strengthen that while giving players the ability to make the same choice we've seen the greatest heroes make time and time again.
I can't wait to do this. I'm seeing a lot of my friends that I never knew had a max level character in the other faction suddenly come out of the woodwork.
And then, with these cross-faction groups, many of them are going to be diving into something new that we're doing to kind of cap off Shadowlands, a Season 4. Kind of a remix, a bit of a greatest hits, revisiting all of our raid zones across the expansion, bringing in some familiar older favorites into the Mythic Plus rotation. And we recognize this is kind of a closing chapter, a little bit of a send-off to Shadowlands. As everyone gets ready for what happens next, and what will come next, want to give a fun new challenge for everyone to sink their teeth into.
Really cool stuff for modern WoW players. I'm super excited about the gear upgrades that you're going to give me and the chance to go back and play some of those awesome raids.
There's a lot to explore, very exciting.
for our next adventure in World of Warcraft, we're going to go back to Azeroth. We're going to a space with high fantasy. I mean, our fans have asked for this for a long time. This has been kind of the foundation of much of the lore of WoW. So without further ado, let's watch the cinematic.
The world has been sundered. It cries out in pain. We must go to its aid. We entrust our ancestral home
Я
to
думал,
you,
это цивилизация началась какая-то.
the Watchers.
А это капитаны. Получается. Да.
Let the land slumber,
Ё-моё, что происходит?
even from our own eyes. You will feel our return in the waking of the land. Then, you must light the beacon of Tearhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever.
Ну, наконец-то мы что-нибудь узнаем про титанов, ё-моё. Ну, имеется в виду дальше развитие сюжета про титанов. Ужас. Слушай, а знакомая локация. Это ли не драконий? А нет, нет. Вообще не представляю. Вот это нужда.
The world is healing. but her
походу,
fate
слив был
is
правда.
yet uncertain. Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
Ну ничего себе.
Dragons!
Dragons.
This is so cool.
No one saw it coming. I
No
know.
one saw it coming. Carefully kept secret. But seriously, I mean, what did we just see there?
The awakening of the Dragon Isles, the return of dragons, the dawn of a new age. Right, we've seen Rathian searching for his father's legacy, searching for the Dragon Isles. There's a reason why he hasn't been able to find them until now.
The beacon going off, is that summoning the dragons?
It is removing the concealment that had hidden the Dragon Isles from the world, but also beckoning the dragons back urgently in a time of need.
I assume pretty good variety of locales within the Dragon Isles? It's
Yes, the Dragon Isles, as kind of standard for WoW expansion, consists
хрен
of
знает.
5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone that we'll get to in a second.
Can you talk a little bit about how the team found ways to thread the dragon aspects throughout the environments?
The Dragon Isles are a place that is lush and primal, bursting with elemental energy. As Azeroth herself reawakens, those primal forces are expressed throughout the environment, whether it's magma activity, volcanic activity, whether it's the icy wastes of the Azure span, and each one of those has a connection to a dragonflight that we've seen before. And it's going to be an amazing place for players to arrive at and explore.
all right, you know I'm going to ask.
Yes, okay, so
Can I be a dragon?
let's start getting into some features here and what Dragonflight means for you as well as just a place. So first off, yes, we have an all-new playable race, the Drakthir race.
Yeah.
This is a Draken, a draconic race, but dragons in Warcraft have the ability to take on a humanoid form.
What classes can they be?
They have unique abilities as literally a dragon. That doesn't quite fit any of our existing classes. And so what we're doing is this is not just a new race, but it's also a new class. You know, adding a new race to World of Warcraft, and not just an allied race, is something that we don't do lightly, but telling this expansion, this story, so focused around dragons, felt like the perfect time for it. So if you are a Drakthir, you will be the Evoker class. Drakthir can only be Evokers, Evokers can only be Drakthir. And the reason why only a Drakthir could be an Evoker is that an Evoker is really combining the ability to
Слушай, а
call
если я
upon the magic of the
сделаю-
different aspects with the unique physical gifts that a Drakthir has, the ability to actually take flight and do an Onyxia
Вот так, вот, к примеру.
И
has, the ability
разных
to
aspектов.
take flight and do an Onyxia style straight
Пламя
breath over the battlefield,
в стиле
land on the other
Onyxia,
side, knock everyone back with a wing buffet, and then
земляной
unleash your magic
поток.
abilities.
Yes, please.
The Evoker has
Ну,
two
интересно,
specializations.
интересно.
They're a hybrid of either range DPS or healer, and they wear male armor. We figured, you know, with the new hero classes we've added over the years, we have enough melee, we don't need more of those.
Так, ребят, ну это, слушайте, я смотрю, чат вообще взорвался в каком-то негативе. Ребят, вам реально
это
настолько
Мне
не
тоже, если
понравилось?
честно, не понравилось.
Слушайте, я как бы... Мне очень интересно именно стилистика, что это будет. Это хотя бы какое-то возвращение на Азерот. Синематик может быть не эпичный сам по себе, но это что-то... Надо посмотреть. Надо, чтобы эмоции улеглись, ребят. Надо, чтобы улеглись эмоции. Поверьте, я тоже Шеллу разочаровался. О, кастомизация. Если честно, на СВТОР похоже немного.
Так ты из... Чего, блядь?
New class, new race. Well, tell us about some
Не,
of the
ребят, просто
specific
знаете, в прошлый раз я тоже орал, фу, говно, но потом что-то... Ладно, короче, я просто хочу оставаться, сохранять нейтралитет, освещать для вас ситуацию. Мое мнение вы знаете. Синематик красивый.
Players that, you know, it's kind of a bummer to start off every new expansion by
Так
leaving
это,
a large part of your
Марат.
character behind, by leaving a large part of your progression behind. So this time around, what we're doing is really pouring all of our energy into permanent revamps, overhauls, and improvements to World of Warcraft's core systems. Things like our progression systems, in this case, our talent system is something that we want to completely revamp. We want to take a look at our UI. We want to take a look at professions.
So
Что,
with the
может,
talent revamp
поработаешь
and the arrival of Classic, did you
переводчиком?
learn anything about how our
Заходи в
talents
DS.
work?
I think seeing a new generation of players play with those talents and work through those talent trees really underscored some of the things that, frankly, we lost when we shifted to the Mists of Pandaria style talents and beyond. A big piece of that was just the granularity, the feeling of getting a level and spending a point to customize your character to make yourself a bit better in some specific way. But also, that sense of hybridity
Точно,
that you
а
could
чё,
have.
почему?
That's something that we've largely lost. And so the new talent system avoids directly pitting player power throughput choices directly against those sort of
Yeah, почему
utility
если-
hybrid choices, because we know that there's always a right outcome there. And we also understand that there's a lot of strength in the flexibility of the modern talent system to let players customize their talents for a particular encounter or for dungeons
русского
versus
нет,
PvP,
пожалуйста.
and we don't want to lose any of that.
So John, UI?
Oh my God. Yes, I got this 30-inch monitor trying to keep track of where I am on the map, all my buffs, and over here, what's going on in chat. It has literally made my eyes go like this. So
And you're not alone in that. We've made a lot of incremental changes and additions over the years, but really this is a revamp, this is an overhaul. And so we're excited to really modernize the look and feel while staying true to the origins of World of Warcraft. Now at the same time, we're not looking to take away the sort of power user customization there. Add-ons are still there if you want them, but we want a much better default out-of-the-box experience for all players, new and old alike.
and can I reduce elements, remove elements? If I want to explore the world and see the beauty of Azeroth,
When it comes to specific elements, as much as possible, we want to let players choose what to show and what to hide so that they can control it themselves.
You mentioned professions. I have a critical question about this.
Go on.
Can I wear a chef's hat?
yeah, I knew it.
Our approach to professions in Dragonflight is really all about delivering on fantasy and identity as a crafter. And so if you want to be a serious blacksmith, if you want to be a great leather worker, we want to deliver the ability to invest time and energy into that, become a master crafter, be able to make items that are in demand, interact with the community. One of the big pieces that we want to do to support that is a new work order system to have a bit more convenience than just spamming trade chat all day. But if you are someone, you're not yourself a blacksmith, but you have a bunch of mats and you want them forged into a great sword, you can put that work order up, list your mats, offer a commission, and a skilled blacksmith can come along and make you the weapon of your dreams.
I think we left out one thing, though. You can be a Drakthir, go to Dragon Isles. Can I have a dragon?
What's the fantasy of dragons if not soaring over the lands? And so we're really excited to introduce a feature that we're calling dragon riding. It's dynamic with everything from momentum to dive bombs, the ability to just sort of build that speed up and feel the world rushing past you in a way that should be much more exciting than traditional flight that we've made available in the past, but that's also available for players through a customizable dragon mount right from the start.
So this is a skill you learn over time, right, to become an awesome dragon rider?
Yes, you'll be able to sort of upgrade aspects of your flight, but you will have this new form of flight from the start. And the Dragon Companion that you have is, of course, very thoroughly customizable, which is a new thing for us for mounts. This is not just a generic dragon that everyone has, but a drake that is yours. What do you want its scales to look like, horns, the shape of its head, other attachments, armor pieces, and more. Take your pick.
This is so cool.
So the Dragonflight expansion is going to see players leveling to 70, going to the all-new continent of the Dragon Isles, which consists of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone for our Drakthir class, as well as a range of systems revamps, such as a new talent system, an overhaul and update to our UI, and an entirely fresh look at professions with more depth than ever before. Also getting around the Dragon Isles is going to come in the form of dragon riding, which lets you customize and upgrade your own mount so that you can fly in a sense from the start. And of course, as with any new expansion, we have a new set of dungeons, a raid, and much more to come.
We also have an alpha that will be starting up in the future.
Check out our website for more information and keep an eye out for those opt-in signups if you want to help us test out Dragonflight and give us even more feedback to make it better.
We do have a deep dive that follows this, so please stay around. Classic players, we haven't forgotten about you. You could probably guess where we're going to go next. One of the all-time favorite expansions for World of Warcraft. Let's watch the cinematic.
king yet.
Прими это приглашение, которое я тебе выслал.
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas. When my days have come to an end, you shall be king.
Ага. Ну я же говорил.
It's just incredible, isn't it? Every time I see the cinematic, I get chills. No pun intended, I get chills. As you saw, Wrath of the Lich King Classic is coming this year. It brings back so many memories. When you see that cinematic, what do you remember from Wrath of the Lich King?
Anytime you want to talk about undead frozen dragons, how can you not go back to Sindragosa as the source? That was the first expansion I played with my youngest son. So I can remember on that platform, black goo and chunks of ice falling off and having to repeat that battle with the Lich King. But when we finally downed him, it was such an incredible moment. He jumped up out of his room and I jumped up out of my office. We're like, yeah, did it. So it's a very lasting tale for me.
So as you know, with this expansion, you will, in pre-patch, be able to play the Death Knight. They will start at level 55. You don't have to have a high-level character to make a Death Knight, so everyone will be able to make one.
We're excited to give players some time before Wrath officially launches to get geared up and ready to jump into Northrend with everybody else.
And there are so many zones and areas to explore in Northrend, and I want us to talk about some of our favorites. So for me, Grizzly Hills has a very special place in my heart. The music was some of the best I've experienced in World of Warcraft.
I still make my way all the way up to Storm Peaks to try and find the time-lost protodrake and have yet to get it.
I've got to say Dragonflight. The wide open nature of the zone, Wormrest Temple in the center of it, it's an unforgettable expansion as both a developer and a player, and kind of making that transition from one to the other.
Now let's talk about some changes. So one thing we looked at is Dungeon Finder, and it feels like how we envision Classic, Dungeon Finder is not a good fit for our community.
That was kind of the first step that may have eroded some of that social fabric. Now,
Тут стоит на рации. Ну да, уже ладно, забей.
Not wanting necessarily a random participant just to show up and then leave.
Я заметил.
But today, you can do that in Shadowlands. You'll be able to do that in Dragonflight. It's a self-selected group of people who specifically want that different experience. Let's make sure that's what we continue to give them.
That leads right into arena teams in Burning Crusade Classic. So we listen to the community.
Они хотят ТЛФГ, что ли, сделать? Классики в этом, в новом личе.
Не хотят они, ну, типа, блядь...
Ну, сейчас, подожди, я почитаю, о чем говорит.
HD-модель, к примеру, заебей,
Сейчас, подожди. Да, я зайду на нормальный стрим.
Yeah.
It seems the right thing to do that just be available in game for gold, and we add more options to it, right?
It's sort of like spell batching in a sense. There's a lot of technical advancements, and it's not about the philosophy of what makes classic and what brings people together. It's just what's the better experience, and let's not artificially restrict something that we can provide a better version of just for the sake of nostalgia. And we're happy to say this is one of those cases.
So, Wrath. The level cap's being increased to level 80, so we'll be introducing a level 70 boost so that players who want to get in with their friends or just explore Northrend right away will be able to do that. You can't apply it to a Death Knight, but you will be able to use it otherwise. And of course, we have Inscription, a whole new profession, so we're really excited about that. Yeah, and as we continue this road to Wrath, we're going to be looking to getting a lot more.
Короче, сделают этот за деньги 80 уровень. Еще что-то. Ну, сейчас, да, я почитаю. Ну да, типа того, чтобы сразу идти в Ванардском.
Don't forget, there's a deep dive on Dragonflight where you're going to get a lot more information. Thank you so much for spending this
Че,
time
все
with
что ли?
us, and we'll see you in
Прикалываетесь?
Azeroth.
And we'll see you
И
in
больше нифига,
Northrend.
да, не будет?
And in the Dragon
Ну,
Isles.
Сейчас посмотрим, что они делают. А, не-не-не. Я про этот прослушал про 335 слегка. Там что-то говорили про ТЛФГ, типа вот этот глазик, чтобы он был, как я понял. И что-то как это, что типа 80 уровень сделают. И что-то еще сказали. Типа. Только какую-то акцию опять сделают для актуала, и если берешь этот опять вот, премиум версию. Ну да.
But when the Legion invaded for that War of the Ancients, that sundering that resulted from the
Подожди, где будут эти острова? Блин, там не показали. Ну и что, они ванилу?
Because of the breaking of the world, that magic kind of drained away, and the land went dormant. So they had to leave the Dragon Isles behind. And as we saw in the pre-render, they left behind some Titan
Ну, люди сами же просили. Ну, люди сами же просили.
Someday they hoped that elemental energy would resurge once again and draw the dragons home, reestablish their kingdom.
And that's when the message goes out to the flights, and they feel it in their bones.
Now it's the time for the sky to light up with the colors of the aspects once again, and for Alex Straza and the others to come home. But the land has changed a lot in all these thousands of years they've been away, and some very old threats have awakened as well.
Ну, ванила была интересна своим старым азеротом и все. Старыми квестиками и так далее. Потому что очень многие их не видели. Поэтому она была реально интересна. Ванил это вот больше игра про эти, про задания и все.
Dragons used that power both for good in the case of most of the aspects, but also for nefarious reasons in the case of the Black Dragonflight led by Neltharion, who would become Deathwing.
And what we will find in Dragonflight is that some of these ancient divisions run deep. And so it begs the question, where do we go from here? If this is an opportunity to reclaim their legacy, to be the protectors, as the cinematic mentioned, that they once were.
To do that, they're going to need the help of our heroes, our
Крови.
to come to the Dragon Isles with them and face
Силы.
some of these real challenges, because it's not just that this land is peacefully waiting for the dragons to return.
Подкастер, да?
There's those old enemies that have awakened as well. One of those being a race of kind of elemental half-giants, the Jarden.
The Dragon Isles isn't just populated by dragons or just by the Jarden. There's also many other occupants here in the Dragon Isles that have been here either just recently or for a while, including
Да. Пускарай там еще будут жить на этих островах.
That's going to be awesome. We've got other cultures there as well in the Dragon Isles. We're going to find out about a civilization.
Короче, будет большое многообразие дракончиков, очень много. Прям просто.
And whether he's ready to step up.
Мне вот интересно, они изменят старый Азерот или нет? Или так оставят? Я думаю, блин, что-то они какой-нибудь сделают опять фигню. Локальные задания в этом Азероте, вот ты тогда офигеешь.
Neltharion saw those primalists that were kind of breaking away from the aspects and what they wanted. And so, in those first experiments, he took the essence of dragons, their strength, their nobility, their wisdom, and he combined it with that scrappiness, that adaptability that the mortal race has had, and he wanted to use that to create the ideal soldier in his mind, the Drakthir.
Заплатишь на 4. Это слишком куда?
The dragons left behind long ago. So we've made these huge zones with all kinds of places to delve into and find little treasures and little secrets tucked away.
Это знаешь, что напоминает? Низину Шалазара, вот это что было очень сильно.
clearly aspirational was the kingdom of the dragons and how it lost so much. And the themes of trying to return to that, to try to find your legacy,
находится?
to try to
Да,
figure out
ну
who
да.
you were before
Тут какая-то смесь
everything
просто
went
опять сделана.
awry. But there's questions, you know, thematic questions of what does it mean to be true to your legacy? Are we going to repeat the mistakes of the past?
The dragons have had to learn those lessons, just like the mortal kingdoms have had to. And I think that's one of the reasons why the dragons see this now as the time
Да, они такие
that they have
стоят
to
и
return,
вообще
and they have to step up
везде
once
прям.
again as protectors of Azeroth. We're helping the dragons because the dragons have helped us in the past too. So by using the Explorers League and the Reliquary together, that allows us to delve into some of that history.
And when I look, you know, upon the Dragon Isles in all of its visual splendor, I get so excited for the prospect of a truly Azerothian adventure alongside
Ну, короче, будет вся сюжетка связана опять с этими аспектами.
As each one of them is trying to find their own flight. I am taken by the exploration and the potential for adventure and just
Да, после Shell, когда...
There's going to be old stories from that time past, that history that only the dragons.
Но мы там отправлялись в прошлое после Пандарии же.
So now we're going to turn things over to some of our colleagues who will take you on that deep dive into the locations and the features of Dragonflight.
О, опять, блин.
Hello, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Josh.
I'm Jackie.
And I'm Gary. And we're part of the teams that are building the first two zones that you'll encounter in the Dragon Isles, the Waking Shore and the Unaran Plains. The very first zone in Dragonflight you're going to come to is the Waking Shores.
Горная какая-то будет одна локация просто.
It's waking up around you too, and the elements are just going crazy.
The art team again has hit it out of the park.
You'll see like a lava mountain flowing in through the beach.
Мне кажется, мы весь одно будем просто на дракончиках это передвигаться тупо и все, и больше ничего не делать.
The one of the things I love is just how you get to the Dragon Isles, right? So you're going to get on your boat in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and the first thing you do is sail between like the dragon ruin architectures. The boats come right alongside each other. You can jump from one boat to the other and just start causing havoc on the other.
Короче, для PvP-шев опять самая лучшая новая локация сделана для открытого PvP. Нет, ты просто нажимаешь этот вармод и все. Ну вот они это говорят, что они это сделали опять. Ну, они сказали, что это на введение. Пошел нафиг.
One of my favorite things about the Waking Shores is the Red Dragonflight, led by Queen Alexstrasza, the Lifebinder. They have the mandate of nurturing and protecting all life, which means Horde and Alliance, Gorloks, Trolls, everybody. So they take that duty seriously. When the Horde and the Alliance come to the Waking Shores, they want to be there to help guide the people through the new land and welcome them. But they're not the only one in the Waking Shores.
We have the ancestral home of the Black Dragonflight there too, which has fallen on tough times since Deathwing's descent. And so Rathian's coming over to the Isles with us, and he's going to try and come to terms with the state of the Dragonflight, which is a few loyal Draconids and Dragon Spawn trying to hold their ground. What can the future of the Dragonflight be if it's just Rathian? Because it's not just the dragons that are coming back to the Dragon Isles, but also their longtime rival, the Jarden.
I love the Jarden so much. They're half giants that wield the power of magma, and when the Waking Shores and the Dragon Isles went to slumber, they also slumbered. They're back now, and they are ready to raise chaos.
Yeah, they're massive. They're riding giant lava mammoths, parading around, just stomping on your face.
And they were the enemies of the Dragonfly for so long. They fought against the Red Dragonfly, hunted dragons down, and they're really taking this opportunity to rise up. As the Red Dragonfly have the mandate of nurturing life, they don't want to just stomp out the Jarden completely, but they want to make sure that they don't have the power to affect those around them negatively, to make sure they don't go on a rampage and destroy the ecosystem that has been created here.
And so those are awesome things in the Waking Shore, but Steph, there really is only one right answer for the best thing in Waking Shores, right?
This is true.
Что за фигня?
Ducks.
We finally have those webbed feet hooligans in our game. We cracked
Утки будут летать, что за бред сейчас было?
You should be proud.
Thank you.
It's gonna be
Я не знаю.
The Unaran Plains come right after the Waking Shores. It's so breathtaking.
Не знаю, что сейчас
The
было.
Unaran Plains are big, wide-open plains. And the player is going to be constricted a little bit, and then you see this big contrast of the zone. We don't always get that opportunity, this cinematic moment where the player can have a framed view and they see this area.
Come out and you got that postcard shot of the
that.
plains, and then see this giant fire proto-dragon.
Блин, они в основном просто описывают, как ты в новой офигенной, обновленной локации будешь ловить драконов всю игру. Я серьезно говорю. Как он типа того, что за бред?
Many years ago. She blessed them, took their caravan across, and then showed them the plains.
How fun at the beginning of this expansion was exploring
Черепаха добралась до лады.
The Centaur are these mighty, awesome hunters that, back when they first came to the Dragon Isles, they fought the green dragons all day long. Eventually, they realized that we're strong, you're strong, maybe we should stop decimating each other's people. We'll make peace, we'll make an agreement. You guys hang out in the groves, and the Centaur will hang out in the plains. But now, the dragons have been gone for 10,000 years. And the Centaur have come so far since then. And they've been here, and they've been existing and developing their culture. They all came over as one clan, led by the mighty Maruk and Tira, and they founded a new life here. So if you want to get across, you have to follow their rules and their traditions. You have to earn their trust. You are the first outsiders to come in generations upon generations. The Centaur might rule the open plains, but the green dragons make their home in the groves. And those groves are absolutely gorgeous.
Ну, я так понял, они просто населили все острова дикими животными и дикими племенами, типа клыкара, вот этих вот, и кентавров и так далее. И все это вместе с дракончиками.
Letting the zone sing, letting the horizon tell the story. We certainly couldn't have done that in the vanilla WoW.
No, definitely not. The zones are so big and you can see so far, especially in Onaran Plains. So we talked to the engineers and we actually increased that distance.
It spurs you on to want to adventure and look through the zone and explore everything.
The interesting thing for me is we have all these conflicts with the dragonflights. There's missing dragons.
Не надо никаких, не надо ничего это. Успокойся, не надо нам. Ковенант опять всякие, это...
And the greatest thing is that you need to figure out exactly what's going on and help solve all the problems that are just sprouting up everywhere.
We're just really excited to tell a story that's grounded in Azeroth and exploration. There's so much more to talk about.
Опять? Дома уже были в Теленоре, так что не думай. Это мужик или баба, интересно?
My name is Kate. I'm Christy. I'm Kate.
I'm Sean. We're going to talk today about Valdrasis and the Azure Span. So Azure Span is going to be the third zone that players adventure through, and it's one of our biggest zones that we've done in the Dragonflight, maybe even to date.
We knew it was going to be like the largest visual elevation change, and it really started with this great concept art. When we first were taking a look at the design, we kept coming back to one of our favorite Wrath zones, which was Grizzly Hills. And we really wanted to take that, but wowify it more. And I don't know if you've ever been up to the Bay Area, but in the morning...
Короче, одна локация будет похожа на медвежьи холмы из этого, из Нордскула. Не, нет, они возьмут, короче, из Нордскула локации как-то совместят в одну зону, типа. Большие такие деревья, знаешь, как в ревущем... Не в ревущем фьорде, а в этих... в седых холмах этих. Гнол опять появится. Что это такое? Ты посмотри потом, сейчас, подожди. Сейчас там, тут ты увидишь потом. Обновленные гнолы прям какие-то стрёмные.
Знаешь, на кого похоже? Это Сид, блядь.
Да, это как из какой-то фигни. Из этой, из ледникового периода. Вот это.
Tuskar. Honestly, all my downtime is probably just me hanging out with the Tuskar.
Ну, короче, мы опять увидим все вот эту живность из Нордскула. Вон, смотри, гнолы чисто. Короче,
along with
клыкары, да,
expanding
будут
their
опять,
culture, so there are going to be male Tuskar, female
кентавры,
Tuskar,
еще что-то
Tuskar
будет.
kids. So we're going to fight alongside them, which includes help from
Дракончики,
a certain group of
как,
dragons, the
как
blue
обычно.
dragons. We're going to follow the story of Kalagos, our blue dragon buddy from the Kirin Tor, and he's going to be adventuring into Sindragos' archives. It's a giant zone. There's a lot of surprises. When we're done there, we head over to Valdrasis.
Valdrasis. It's really incredible because you will be going through some of the previous zones and seeing a lot of ruins for the dragon buildings. But when you get to Valdrasis, everything is perfectly intact. It's beautiful. It's pristine. It is the seat of power for all 5 dragon flights and home of the dragons. It feels that way with the
Последняя локация будет там будут одни дракончики опять и много подъемов и пещер, так сказать. Ну и, конечно же, гор. Да, типа такая подместная местность опять.
We really wanted it to feel like their old stomping grounds. One of the really cool features is going to be the main city and player hub for this expansion, Valdraken. It is a culmination of all of the dragon's efforts to put together what a city would look like. So we ended up having a bunch of really fun small vignettes where you see that the blue dragon flight is hosting a public library, and the red and green dragon flights both have their own separate gardens. We'll also have
Акционный
some
дом
convenience
это будет
services for
в этой
players,
столице
including an
новой.
auction house in the city, which will be really nice if you're looking for more exotic wares. The thing that really sold me on Valdrasis was the initial concept art we got of Tierhold.
Потому что это для инженеров,
This is a
так
10,000-year-old
сказать.
Titan technological marvel. Tierhold has these awesome
Только для
aqueducts that
инженеров
actually come
вроде
out
же.
from the structure
Или
all the way to
там
the city across
добавили
the
уже.
valley. And in the cinematic,
Нет,
there's
в
this
Подписи только для
amazing
инженеров
shot
сделано.
where you see Alexstrasza
Ну, как и в Вандаларе не было
splashes
наличия.
of water cresting across her wings.
Ну, они
So
также
when
сделали.
players are flying around themselves, they get to have their Alexstrasza moment.
Чтобы
What
качали
an
инженеров.
incredible place and filled with so much history.
Tierhold was built by Tyr. He
Ну, не
was a
знаю.
keeper back in the day who helped the Aspects fight Galakrond. And when they settled on the Dragon Isles, he built this facility. And even though Tyr's gone, the dragons have held him in reverence. But that was 10,000 years ago, and they've let the Titans maintain the place. An incredible amount of history has happened since then. Flights have been nearly wiped out. There have been invasions, betrayals. Aspects have died. And these are the kind of things that leave marks on a society. So now they're all back here, and they're all here together.
As we were designing the zone and the city itself, we're trying to figure out, how do we tell those stories at the same time as making sure that this is a really convenient place for players to go and, go shopping, as they tend to do. So much adventuring happening on the Dragon Isles.
It's so cool.
As a player, you probably don't have
Мы будем учиться драконьему полету,
the art of dragon riding.
чтобы там летать, походу. Драконий полет это будет такое, типа, умение. А что если у тебя уже есть дракон в инвентаре?
I'm Andy.
I'm Kali.
And I'm Graham. And I'm really
О,
excited to
про
talk to you
новый
guys today
класс
about
говорят.
the Dragthir Evoker, our new race and class coming in Dragonflight.
Драконья поездка, новое какое-то умение, что
Not
за
only
бред?
the Evoker, but also dragon riding, which is our exciting expression into the exploration of the Dragon Isles.
We knew with a dragon-themed expansion, we wanted to let you play a dragon. Not a big dragon, Alexstrasza size. That'd be tough to fit into raids. I'm sorry, Jake.
Okay.
I know.
Fine.
But a draconic humanoid. So the Dragthir, created by Neltharion.
And like our other hero classes, you get to choose if you want to start on the Horde or Alliance side on character creation.
So let's talk a little bit about the Evoker, the class they can be. What's unique about it is because the Dragthir are created by
Короче, новый класс будет иметь все школы магии, ну, этих драконов, аспектов.
And to show that, we created a visual, what we call a prismatic effect. This prismatic effect is basically the coalescence of all their energy as they channel it into whatever spell that
Красный спел какой-то
you
будет.
have a red magic spell called Pyre. So when you shoot it out of your mouth, it twirls in the air with all 5 of the Dragonflight's magic as it turns into the red spell before landing on your enemies and exploding and hopefully burning them.
I'll take that one. Getting that vibe across that they use all 5 was really important to us, but we did want to make sure that each specialization focused on 2, because casting 5 different
Не знаю,
colors
походу,
gets a bit
что типа
messy.
того.
So their damage dealer specialization, their first of 2, Devastation, mostly focuses on red and blue magic. Red being very fast and explosive, burning everything with fire, whereas blue is more focused and overwhelming. You can shoot a beam of energy out of your mouth to
О, он еще будет и отхиливать. Вот,
There's a healer
офигеть.
spec called Preservation. The healer spec is going to focus mostly on your green and your bronze magic. So your green
То есть
is
он
going
будет
to be evocative
тогда
of
магером
your
и
dream, your growth, and your
хилом,
nurturing
походу.
spells. And then you have your bronze magic, which is going to be more timey-wimey. So you get to heal a wound faster.
So in addition to the visuals and the animation, which all make you feel very powerful, we really wanted the player to have a physical connection to the cast. We have a new type of spell called Empower, where
Но не делать такой спел, типа, что ты зажимаешь на кнопку, и чем дольше ты держишь, тем больше урон будет.
But it gives you this really physical connection and control.
Блин,
It's World of
что?
Warcraft, and I think it's feeling really, really good.
We have some great animations. Thank you, Andy. Your team.
Да, ты будешь как дебил бегать и держать одну кнопку, чтобы нанести урон большой.
Fly around the battlefield and cast while you're flying.
Raining
Типа он
fire
стоит
and
такой,
death from above. It's great.
как бы что-то собирается извергнуть огонь, и потом ты отжимаешь вот такой бам.
What's actually
These customizations. But no, they're really,
Ну, у
really
тебя будет как, ну, короче, это будет как у Плагина,
and your
типа.
humanoid form. And
Да.
the customization options for both of them are amazing.
Что ты знаешь, смесь какого-то Демон Хантера, дракона и у Плагина, смотри.
So your usage form can have scales that are the same color as your Drakthir form.
But my favorite, super
Хэйр.
favorite part of
Волосы,
customization
опять
for
волосы,
the
все у
message
них.
form, hair.
Yeah.
Смотри, какие обновленные волосы. Кайф.
As players make their way through each of the areas of the Dragon Isles, they'll partner up with the Dragonflights to move through the air as they've never done before. You'll notice I did not say flying, because flight has a very specific meaning for World of Warcraft. And we're talking about something new called dragon riding.
And as the players are honing their dragon riding skills, they're going to get to see all new animations that go along with the different look and feel of the drakes.
We're aiming to shake up movement with this new system, providing players with a deeper immersion with forces like momentum and gravity.
We knew that for Dragonflight, we were going to have the opportunity to show players a whole new set of Dragon Isle drakes, completely unique.
Ну, они, короче, обновили просто это, полеты все. Ну, типа, анимацию обновили, что еще там будут делать. Типа новая физика, анимация и так далее. Ускорение, как я понял, будет. Там вот там на одном скрине он прямо ускоряется. Типа переворот его, увеличение скорости. И также будет на экране у тебя такой эффект прям. Вот вместо того, чтобы сделать нормальную арену, они делают это вот. Ну и может покажут. Но что-то меня уже это смущает очень сильно.
We want to provide players with all new skills to play with, as those who can use their momentum well can reach higher and higher heights and bring on new, more difficult challenges.
Да, не знаю, сейчас посмотрим.
So many new, gorgeous options to choose from, and I'm just so excited for all of them.
I'm excited for the whole thing. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to work on, but I can't wait to actually get into game, play it with you guys.
I can't wait. I can't wait to fly around Dragon Isles. It's gonna be great.
Next up, you're going to hear about the talent revamp.
О, я вовремя подошел. Да, талант и интерфейс. Что?
Hello, my name is Brian.
I'm Crash.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Laura. We are very
Это мужик или баба? Слышь, посмотри быстро.
the WoW HUD UI.
And it is also time for a major revamp to talents and specializations.
I have a big
Не, реально, кто это?
How long do you think it took for us to finally revamp the
Шрек.
WoW HUD?
My guess is like...
Мне стрёмно смотреть.
Close, 18 years. 18 years. Wow.
You know, technology
Типа у него грудь есть, и он как бы выглядит мужик.
Now you have
Поддерживаем.
monitors, and us, we have better dev tools to work with, so it makes sense to have the revamp.
Да я вижу, я не могу понять.
If you look
Ладно,
at
стой,
the game
стой, подожди,
today,
там
the
что-то
art
говорят.
evolved beautifully over the years.
Все,
And
жди.
if you look at the HUD looks like it got frozen time.
So when we approached this, we wanted to create a layout experience that players could
Блин, ну мне бы таким бы стрёмно стоять было рядом.
fit their needs.
Add-ons today, they do a lot for player customization.
Осуждаем.
The downside is that not everybody uses them. It's about time that everybody has the opportunity to use them, that they become a part of the base UI.
Yeah, and we are working very closely with our user research team to make sure we are hitting the goals that our player needs.
Короче, они добавили какой-то новый функционал, так скажем, в интерфейсе.
In a lot of areas, and on top of that, we are going to be improving the art.
Yeah, so the art update, it's a big part of this project. The UI that
Короче, старый интерфейс был 18 лет уже исполнилось. 18, прикинь?
So, with that in mind, we want to
18.
respect that players will really like the current UI, but do a modern take to it. Removing the clutter,
Они новые сделали мини-мап,
visibility for the
новые
gameplay.
иконки.
So, the new minimap, it looks bigger.
Эти
And the health
бары
bar
вот
is
эти,
also
это
much
здоровье,
bigger. If you look at
фреймы
the
вот эти.
action bars in the bottom menus, they have less
Они
add
типа
frames
делают тебе больше
and
пространства для экрана на мониторе.
gameplay, so you don't have a lot of your UI in front of you. And of course, we want
Блин, ну типа что-то наподобие алодов.
but we want to bring it back in a
Они
nice
обновили
way.
вот этих
For sure,
грифонов,
they
вот
look
эти,
so
видишь?
nice now. And the
Я
horde,
их убрал
don't
тоже,
worry,
я их тоже
we
брал,
got
грифончиков
you.
этих.
You're gonna have your version as well. So let's talk about the editor.
We are putting a mode
Вот они вот что-то на этом сделали.
various HUD elements around on the screen. So
Блин, посмотри, вот смотри.
say from the right corner all the way over to the left
Типа,
corner.
ну...
If I want to bring my action bars from the bottom and kind of put them more in the center by my character.
Интересно, а можно будет старый вернуть интерфейс? Мне потому что старый нравится.
Options that you'll be able to work with. They'll be able to save it, edit it, copy it.
Нет, ну я надеюсь, кто-то это сделает аддоном, типа, аддон установлю и все.
So if you're someone who jumps around a lot, as you switch, it will switch to whatever HUD layout you have for that spec.
This is an ongoing project. We're gonna keep working on it. So we really want to hear back from you.
A project that we're all excited about that we've been collaborating a lot on is something that's pretty UI intensive, and that's the talent system.
Hadn't changed in a long time, like you said before.
У него шеи, что ли, нажить, что типа?
How can we have players have more information for what they are?
As you level up, we give you a new spell, a new ability, something that kind of makes you stronger, but it's determined by the designers. We
Осуждаем.
Yeah, we started looking for a system that would give players a much wider set of options.
And after looking
Ой,
at all
тихо,
those
все.
things, what
Новое древо
we
талантов,
turned
типа.
to was the idea of trees. But it's actually two trees.
Дерево сделали.
Class tree that offer different class utility.
Типа теперь
and then we have
будет...
a spec tree that is focused on performing your role.
Типа не будет
Can I just jump in and say
специальности,
that I
типа
personally
дамагера
am
или
super
хил,
excited
а просто
about
будет
having
дерево.
trees come back. There's a big nostalgia hit for me.
As we said, we have these two trees because we feel like picking a
Ща,
specialization is a
подожди.
really important part of your World of Warcraft character now. And so we want to make sure that when you choose that...
Я не могу на него смотреть.
Yeah, as soon as you open your talent tree.
А, не, все, нет, по идее это так и будет. Они просто сделают дерево и все.
In that spec you've chosen, but then you'll have your first point to spend in the class tree, which could be something related to that spec or role, or it could be something from elsewhere in the class.
Просто там на дереве очень много этих спеллов. Ну, кстати, подожди. А, ну старые остались, и нарастался этот.
You have seen that a lot through most recent expansions, but not the base UI.
Ну, у друида остались сейвы там, вот и нарастался, я вижу, походу, барк остался. Конвок сделают. Офигеть. Типа они, походу, некоторые эти взяли. Они обилки ковенантов сделали в таланты, походу, некоторые.
Yeah, the old school players, when
Типа...
you see trees this time, just think, yeah, I'll go from my raid night to my arena match and figure
Опа,
out what I
вот
think
это,
is
подожди, это монах, не монах, это саух.
So we're building a save load feature that lets you create your build, name it, save it, and then load it up very quickly and freely.
Talents were really about the breadth of options. We've made all these different.
Блин, ну так свои выражают эмоции прям угарно.
It's when players can hold the building blocks of what can make up their class, their spec, and put them together in a way that works for them.
So these are really cool features that we've been working long and hard on, and we're very excited about them. And it's just an early preview of the things we've been doing.
Короче, вкратце обновили таланты и собрали все самое лучшее из всех старых, что было за всю историю, прям вообще. Прям вот они старались и сделали.
Hi, I'm Joanna. And I'm Eric, and we're going to talk about our plans for professions in Dragonflight. Professions have been a staple of World of Warcraft forever, and they've seen lots of really cool incremental updates over their life. But for Dragonflight, we want to do something a bit different. We really want to rethink professions and figure out how to make them part of your identity as a player. That's what we want.
We really want to make sure
Называется
professions
лентяй.
relevant across all levels.
Новая профессия.
That brings us to our first
Специально
update,
для
something we're
Эмиралина
calling crafting order.
отдельно сделают.
If you want to have something crafted for you, but you don't
Я хочу
have
все
the skill or the right
на халяву, это
profession to do it
называется.
for yourself, you can have it crafted through a crafting order. You can basically browse any of the recipes that can be crafted, pick the one you want for yourself, and then you include some or all of the reagents.
Нет, они обновили опять. Короче, они все обновили. Вкладку, короче, до профессии это обновили, видишь?
Or you can also go to an NPC and using an auction house-like interface, send the order out. If you're doing this, you can pick, do you want to send the
Ты
order
можешь,
to
короче,
anyone through a
продавать.
public order,
Точно, я
or
не
do you
помню,
want
что
to send
было.
it to your guild,
На
or
аукционном доме будет...
maybe it's a friend who
Не, ладно, забей.
craft the item really well for you.
If you are really dedicated to your craft, you're going to be the best at what you do.
One of the coolest things about this
Там была
is
фраза, и
the
вы
item you had
можете
crafted
продавать
can also be sold.
вещи своим
In the past,
сагильдийцам.
you could
Вопрос,
only get
зачем
your
своим
hands on crafted
сагильдийцам
items by
продавать
having that
вещи?
profession yourself. Now anyone can have them crafted for you, which is really neat and really
А
expands
вообще-то
the
мы
number of items
бесплатно
that we can
отдавали
provide. They're really
всю свою жизнь.
powerful,
Ты же
but everyone can have
сагильдийцу
them
как-то, ну знаешь? Они хотят, чтобы ты деньги зарабатывал на своих же.
Start building your client base. People are going to come back to you to get certain items. Maybe
Чисто
it's
Америка.
making them, or you always throw in a little something extra. You're also going to be leveling up your profession. It's going to be really great.
So the first time you go to craft, you're going to notice a lot of different things, but probably the biggest is the introduction of quality, both to your crafted items and your gathered reagents. Quality
Короче,
works
будет
in a simple way. If you craft
качество
something that's a higher
каких-то
quality, it's just gonna
предметов.
be better. For a piece of gear, that probably means a higher item level. If it's
Но это же все вроде было, они просто это как-то переработали и
We're
все.
doing a lot of new things in the UI. We've put a lot of work into it to make sure that the professions feel really special and unique.
And another thing you might notice in the crafting UI that's new is the introduction of stats specifically to your professions, both crafting and gathering. And this is another sort of major input into quality. Probably the biggest source of your ability to craft items at a higher quality is through crafting specializations. We've had crafting specializations in the past, as far back as original World of Warcraft. With Dragonflight,
Какие-то будут очки
you can go out and
специализации.
earn specialization points in a whole bunch of different ways. So maybe you find an old book on a bookshelf in a ruin somewhere, or a hermit in a cave who can teach you a little bit about your profession. So let's say you're a blacksmith. You might decide that first you want to become an armor smith. And the more points you spend in armor smithing, the better you're going to get at crafting all armor.
This also means that if you specialize one way, other people in your guild may specialize in a completely different path. So this means that your guild could have several top blacksmiths and everybody's providing something unique and valuable to the team, which is really cool.
Now that reminds me of another update. We're actually adding crafting tables to all the different crafting professions. We're going to take those and we're going to put them all in the main city of Valdraken. And you're going to go in there and you're going to get to see all the different players crafting their items at their cool crafting tables.
Yeah, it means you're going to walk into the city and you're going to see like all these alchemists huddled over here, and you're going to see all these blacksmiths over by the forge.
Это будет новая...
Filling orders or grabbing orders. It's going to be a whole new crafting area that's going to make you feel really
Как сказать
part of the world.
по-русски, не знаю. Зона для изготовления его.
What I'm most excited about, though, is the gear. We're introducing new types of gear.
Типа какие-то вот, видишь, новые предметы еще сделают специально для профессий.
It's going to be really great.
You're not going to have to carry that stuff around in your backpack anymore. There's actually going to be dedicated slots for each of your pieces of gear. But I'm a numbers guy.
Короче,
I love
все...
progressing. All pieces of
Ладно,
profession gear
забей.
will have those special stats that we mentioned before on them. And as you get your hands on better versions of the gear, you know, it's really going to...
Короче, ну, предметов, что будешь это крафтить, это будут вот эти очки, типа 1 из 5, 4 из 5, 2 из 5 и так далее. Типа, это упор идет на качество предметов и все. Типа того. Просто не успеваю за ним иногда. Че, все что ли? Неплохо. А где фраза «мы обанкротили»?